WWE Smackdown review. I am back once again to talk Smackdown. This was a pretty good show. We're about to hop right on into it. But first, feel free to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell to be notified of every video that I make. You can find me on Twitter at OMGCoreyB and at the number 2 Sweet Pod. That's 2 Sweet Pod. So we're about to hop right on into this thing. I'm not going to waste any more time. So first up, we had Miz TV, and he came out, he gloated about himself, Daniel Bryan, beating Daniel Bryan, and he also made an announcement that at WWE Super Showdown, it's going to be The Miz versus Daniel Bryan again, and the winner will get a WWE title shot, a future WWE title shot. And on some levels, I like it. On some levels, I don't like it, because they're really burning through this Miz and Daniel Bryan feud. I envision this feud as something that would conclude at WrestleMania. And for all I know, it still could conclude at WrestleMania. We could get a final match here, and let's say the Miz wins and Daniel Bryan wins the Royal Rumble, and we all meet up at WrestleMania again. So we'll see how it all shakes out. This is yet another match. I wish they'd have held off at some point, like at Held in the Cell. We didn't have to have Miz and Daniel Bryan. We could have ran this again at Super Showdown, and we would have still felt fresh. But I still am looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a phenomenal match. Moving on, he brought out his special guest, and apparently this was hyped for weeks. And when they said this was hyped for weeks, and I mean, I've seen it on Twitter when there's people talking about how it's been hyped for weeks, and I'm just saying, where was I? Like, I think I watched so much wrestling to where it's just, stuff just oozes out of my brain and out of my memory. I watch Raw, watch SmackDown, I watch Impact Wrestling. I do the reviews for Raw, SmackDown, Impact Wrestling. And I watch NXT, I watch Lucha Underground, the Mae Young Classic. I catch a little bit of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I do a podcast throughout the weeks. And I guess it's just some things that just ooze out that I forget that was clearly announced before. Because I do not remember him announcing that he'd be having a guest on Miz TV this week. But nonetheless, it was Maurice. I was about to say it was the Miz, but it was his wife Maurice. They gloated about beating Brie and Daniel Bryan. Maurice talked about how it was her last night on SmackDown. The crowd erupted in cheers, and that ticked the Miz off. He called out Daniel Bryan, and we had ourselves a big brouhaha, which led to Daniel Bryan bumping into Maurice, and it was all a trap as Maurice faked a injury, and the Miz went after Daniel Bryan, but Daniel Bryan stood tall. This was a good opening segment. Nice way to set up Super Showdown. I didn't like the multiple bumps that Maurice took, but it was a good segment, enough for me to get into the build to Super Showdown, excuse me. So after that, we had Cesaro versus Kofi Kingston, and when I seen this matchup coming, I was like, okay, 2 workhorses, yeah, this is gonna be a good opening match no matter what they do. So it was indeed a good opening match. The highlight of the match was this belly bouncing plancha that Kofi Kingston did off the top rope to the outside. That's as much as I could call it. Even on commentary, they were at a loss for words. And even Xavier Woods came up and said, yeah, whatever that was great. And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever that was, it was phenomenal. It was a great match. I very much enjoyed it. I guess it's a nice start to build for the Bar versus the New Day for the titles. As I'm looking forward to the match, I'm going to very much enjoy it. Cesaro picked up the win with the neutralizer. It was a fantastic match and a nice way to start the SmackDown show as it pertains to wrestling matches. After that, we had Rusev and Aiden English. Aiden English went to apologize to Rusev, and Rusev wasn't having it, told him to stay away from the ring tonight. They walked off, and something interesting happened. Aiden English got ticked off, found a random dude, start running down Rusev, and Rusev Day talked about how he started and how Lana didn't have anything to do with it. Lana overheard him. She said that she was going to Rusev to tell Lana, you better watch out, snitches get stitches. So after that, we had Randy Orton in the production truck in what was the weirdest segment of the night, considering the stories that have come out about Randy Orton. So Randy Orton is over this guy in the production truck, and he's forcing him to pull up footage of Randy Orton basically ripping Jeff Hardy's ear off. I'm just gonna say that. Added the Hell on the Cell, and he said that more problems were to come for his next victim. This was a very weird segment for reasons that are obvious and reasons I won't go into, but Randy Orton, we had a segment, and it'll be interesting to see who his next opponent will be. So after that, we had AJ Styles. He got interviewed. He talked about Samoa Joe and how he got lucky, how AJ Styles got lucky, but maybe it was karma for Samoa Joe. Said that there were subtle things in Australia, but he was ready to get to Andrade Almas and that match later on in the night. After that, we had the WWE US title match, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Rusev. Lana wanted to tell Rusev about everything, but Rusev was ready for his title match, and he asked Aiden English for some reason to accompany him to the ring after telling him that he would not be in the ring just prior to this segment. But we had a phenomenal match. I guess I could call this one, this was bordering on a banger. Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev. I very much enjoyed the match. It picked up big time when Rusev countered the Kinshasa into a Machka kick. Both guys were down, and you're looking at it and it's like, okay, well, maybe they're gonna go with Rusev here. We'll see what happens. But Aiden English jumps up onto the apron, and like, this is my wrestling trope. Wrestlers turn into the dumbest people alive when someone jumps up onto the apron. It's like, well, let's just turn away from the guy that I'm wrestling. Let's look up on the apron. What's going on here? Rusev gets distracted, and Nakamura picks up the win with the roll up, and Aiden English causes Rusev again. Rusev is ticked, but we have the heel turn with Aiden English. He beats down Rusev. He later says Happy Rusev Day, and that is the end of Rusev Day as we know and love it. I'm going to assume that we have a face turn here for Rusev. Crowd loves the guy to death, so that makes sense. But man, I really think that they should have rolled Rusev Day much more than they initially did, and we'll see how it all turns out for Aiden English. To be honest, in my initial thoughts, I don't have the highest of hopes for him as it pertains to moving on in the singles career. I hope I'm wrong about that. I sincerely hope I'm wrong about that, but we'll see how it all plays out. And I could surely use a glass of water right now. But moving on, AJ Styles versus Andrade Almas. Look, they've put Andrade Almas in some test matches. He's passed every test, and this was no different. AJ Styles versus Andrade Almas. I really enjoyed this match. This was a certifiable banger. Certifiable TV banger. And I enjoyed it very much. The stump to AJ Styles on the apron from the top rope from Andrade Almas, that was ridiculous. And looking at the match, it just picked up big time. And the finish of the match was one of the strangest, most creative things I've ever seen in my life. Styles is in a roll-up. He comes out of the roll-up right into the Styles Clash for the win. And AJ Styles is just phenomenal at these things. I always find a way around the saying phenomenal when I'm talking about this guy. It's never intentional, by the way. But he's phenomenal at these things. He had the creative finish with Nakamura at WrestleMania. He had the creative finish here. And this could have passed for a pay-per-view match. It was great. As I said with Andrade Almas, they haven't put him in a steady storyline yet. And, you know, he's been in matches with Samoa Joe. Excuse me, I've been in matches with Daniel Bryan. Been in a match with AJ Styles. Been in a match with Rusev. They have all been certifiable TV bangers. I've loved every bit of them. He's passed every single test they've thrown at him. And now I think it's time for them to put him in a steady storyline going forward. I mean, if they're not going to do anything with Nakamura as the United States Champion, why not make Andrade the United States Champion? Obviously, he would have to wait out until a face won the championship. We'll see how that goes with Nakamura. But still in all, this guy deserves to be in some type of storyline going forward. I'm very much looking toward his rise on SmackDown as a main event player. So after that, Joe attacked AJ Styles post-match. He beat him down and he left throughout the crowd. That is our build heading into Super Showdown. We're going to have another AJ Styles Samoa Joe match. Going to be no disqualification, and we'll see how it all turns out there. So after that, we had Asuka versus Billie Kay. The Iconics didn't even get halfway into their act before Asuka's music hits. This was a glorified squash match. Only went for like a minute. Asuka picked up the win in dominating fashion. I have no idea where they're going with the Iconics. They lost momentum very quickly. We have the match coming up at Super Showdown. It's looking like Asuka and Naomi versus the Iconics at Super Showdown. We'll see how that goes. Obviously, the Iconics are going to get a super pop in Australia. That should be interesting. So moving on, we had Becky Lynch. We had the Becky Lynch Championship celebration. And look, I just have to break down and admit that I'm probably turning into a Becky Lynch stan, because I'm just digging everything that they're doing with her, and it's because they're doing it behind backwards. They're trying to do everything to turn her into a heel, and I'm gonna get into that. When she came out, we got the big "You Deserve It" chant, and got the huge adoration from the crowd. The crowd loves her, and of course, why wouldn't they? Becky said that she didn't need a ring of women around the ring, kind of like Ronda Rousey did. She just wanted one woman. She just wanted Charlotte out there. And Charlotte tried to come in with the, I'm your friend, and, I'm coming to you as a person promo, but Becky Lynch wasn't having any of it. We got the arrogant heel Becky Lynch, and it was glorious. Becky Lynch said the only reason she wanted Charlotte out here was to put the title around her waist. Said that she stopped listening to Charlotte once she said that she was the better woman. And this was just phenomenal. I've never laughed so hard. I'm trying to think of the last segment that I legitimately laughed at for good reason, and not because of reasons of laughing at the segment because it was bad. I laughed throughout the segment because Becky Lynch entertained me thoroughly with her heel arrogant side. And look, here's the thing. This is what it all comes down to. They're trying to do everything in their power to make Becky Lynch a heel and to make Charlotte Flair the sympathetic babyface. Nobody wants to feel sympathy for Charlotte Flair. It's much like Roman Reigns. I keep saying nobody wants to feel sympathy for that guy. Nobody wants to feel sympathy for Charlotte Flair because in this case, Charlotte gloated in Becky's face as well when she was the champion. So you can't have Charlotte come back, play sympathetic babyface of, you're not my friend anymore, you're gloating in my face. Well, Charlotte was doing it too. So here's my theorization for WWE. The more you try to make her a heel, the more you try to make her arrogant, the more you try to make her pissy toward every opponent that comes in her face, the more the crowd is going to cheer her. Because they love every bit of it. I love every bit of it. She just comes off as natural. And as I say her, I mean Becky Lynch in this role, this arrogant side role. So the more you try to turn her heel, the more we're going to cheer her. I'm just letting you know firsthand. During this segment, we got into a big brouhaha, Becky and Charlotte. Becky threw her over the announce table, and it ended with an exploder. Becky Lynch strode down the rampway with the title back into the dressing room, head held high as we faded to black. They are really doing their darndest to make Becky Lynch the heel, and I'm going to talk about this on my podcast. We're in the age of the anti-hero again. This generation wants to see the anti-hero, and Becky Lynch is every bit of that, and she's doing a phenomenal job at it, and I love every bit of it. So this was a fantastic segment. We're off to surprisingly Super Showdown with Becky Lynch and Charlotte. It doesn't look like this match is going to take place at Evolution. That one is an absolute shocker to me. And we'll see how it all plays out going forward. This episode of SmackDown wasn't a great episode of SmackDown, but it was an easy watch. That's all I ever want from a wrestling show. It isn't an easy watch. Wasn't fun to sit through. This episode of SmackDown was fun to sit through. I enjoyed it very much. Let me know down below, what was your favorite part of SmackDown? What was your favorite segment? Do you love heel Becky Lynch? as much as I do? Let me know down below.